cost. This punishment where the court ordered the offender to pay the cost of the criminal proceedings. The court may order the offender to pay the cost that the victim or witness incurred, the traveling or the form of trial venue or the other costs associated with the trial. So the offender will pay the cost in in terms of uh, in terms of criminal proceedings and the cost that the victim or the witness incurred in traveling or any others. So H or the security to keep peace, security of behavior, good behavior. Once of the court convict the offender is may require the offender to execute a bond that the offender will maintain a certain conduct for specific period of time. The offender may be subject to additional penalties if he breaks the condition of the beyond. Suspended sentence. The court often gives suspended sentence as the alternative to fine or imprisonment. The court imposed the sentence but suspended it for a period of time, either conditionally or unconditionally. If the offender contravenes the condition of suspended sentence, he will be expected to serve the full sentence originally imposed suspended system. So it's very next discharge. A discharge is a criminal sentence hereby the court finds the offender by does not register by a conviction or impose any punishment. The offender may be discharged if it is best increase and not against the public interest. Discharge may be either absolute or conditional. In the case of absolute discharge, the court does not give condition for discharge. However, in the case of conditional discharge, the court may give condition. The offender has to comply with up to a certain period of time, especially by the court. Condition include reporting to courts, to a police station or the probation officer at regular intervals, attending treatment, include counseling or rehabilitation, and keeping the peace, not having contact with a certain individuals, or not leaving the jurisdiction. So, so next, probation. The court may order an offender to serve a term of probation during which the must meet certain conditions, include reporting to a probation officer, remaining crime-free, or attempt treatment. The court can be impose probation, the alternative to jail, term of after offender has served a portion of jail sentence. Failure to follow the condition of the probation can result in offender severe jail term. Community service. Punishment in the case of community service offered does not some paid or unpaid work which is beneficial to the community. Thus, a community serve sentence combines punishment with activities cared of the community. The requirements of the community service aim to punish the offender, to change his behavior, and to make amends to the victim of the crime and the local community. So, community service is good for the community in order for the offenders to change his behavior into a good way, into a good aspect. Um, the last kind of punishment is revocation. The rights, revocation of rights. The court may also punish an offender by revoking his rights, or court may revoke a right temporarily by suspending it for a period of time or permanently by canceling it or disqualifying the offender. Example of the revocation of right include suspending or canceling of license and permits, disqualifying the offender from carrying or certain activities or from holding a certain office or position government in a company. So revocation of rights. So it is literally or probably um, getting your um, getting or canceling or temporary suspension of your license or your duties and many others. So now let's talk about age of enlightenment. So age of enlightenment. An enlightenment century intellectual movement to those central concept where the use of reason, scientific method, and progress, enlightenment, and thinkers believe that they could help create the better scientists that better people there believe was strengthened by some modest improvements in economic and social life during the 18th century. So, three ideas of enlightenment. First, reason. Most of the important and original idea was that methods of natural science could be used to examine and understand all aspects of life. Everything was to be submitted to rationalism. So, second, scientific method. The scientific method was capable of discovering laws of human society as well as those nature. So, it's all about scientific ways or methods by discovering and discovering law of human society. So, third is progress. The goal of enlightenment thinkers create better societies for better people by discarding outmoded tradition and embracing rationalism. So, the enlightenment enlightenment thinkers is literally they tend to discard the outmoded tradition and embracing rationalism. Uh, Reason and rationalism. The general opinion and among enlightenment thinkers that nothing should be accepted on faith and that everything should be subjected to a secular critical examination. So everything should be examined in the minds of enlightenment thinkers. Emergence of enlightenment. The new generation between 1687, Newton's publication of Principia, and 1715, the death of Lucius Louis the 14th tried the not between the scientific revolution and create a new outlook of life. So there are the four main causes. First, the 30 Years' War, anti-religious sentiment. Second, Fiery Bill, rise of skepticism. Third, global knowledge about foreign cultures and customs. Fourth, John Locke, new theory on how human beings learn. 30 Years War. In the wake of 30 Years' War, many questioned religious truths that, if they could be proved, the need of religious unity was also changed. Isaac Newton believed that they were explained God's work unlike during the Enlightenment. So, Fiery Bell, a famous French Huguenot skeptic who found refuge in Netherlands, Bell critically explained past religious beliefs and persecution in his historical and critical dictionary. He concluded that nothing can ever be known beyond all doubt of view known as skepticism, most famous advocate of skepticism. Next, global knowledge. The rapid growth of travel literature or non-European lands and culture led to discoveries that all people had their way own beliefs and costumes. Example in Europe, uh, a man borrow before a woman to be show respect, while in Siam a man turned to back. They began to look the truth and mortality relative rather than absolute terms. Uh, Next, John Locke. Locke's essay concerning human understanding was a key intellectual inspiration that sets forth a new theory about how being how human beings learn. His essay rejected Descartes' view that people are born with certain basic ideas, but instead that all ideas are derived from experience. So, the idea of John Locke was rejected by Descartes. Tabula rasa, literally blank tablet, it is corrupted into Locke's belief that all ideas are derived from experience, and that birth of human mind is like the blank tablet on which environment writes an individual understanding and belief. So Tablasa believes that um, the human mind is like a blank tablet which the environment writes individual understanding and beliefs. So from Tabulasa, they tend to um, derive from experience, derived from his experience of human mind. Argument summary. The human mind at birth is tabula rasa, on which the environment determines in individual understanding and beliefs. Thus, human development is determined by education and social institution in the environment.